Women Talking is one of the films nominated for the Best Picture at the 2023 Oscars. Directed by Sarah Polley and adapted from Miriam Toews' novel of the same name. This film is based on a true large-scale sexual assault case that occurred in a secluded Christian fundamentalist Mennonite colony in Bolivia, where men have wielded absolute authority for many years, and women have been raped and deceived into believing that Satan was responsible. The film begins with the capture of a rape incident. To bail out the rapist, the men flee for 48 hours and ask the women to forgive and forget during this time. After their suspicions are confirmed as the truth, the women hold a meeting and vote on the response measures. There are 3 options: do nothing, stay and fight, or leave. They eventually select over a dozen women to discuss the pros and cons of these options in 24 hours, and then make a decision. The film is a depiction of this process, entirely dominated by conversation, and shot mostly inside a barn. 3 generations of women narrate the oppression and abuse of women in the name of faith that has continued in this colony for many years. The film features a star-studded cast, with each character played by an excellent actor with their unique characteristics. The women sit together, talking, comforting, persuading, confessing, and praying, laughing and crying from time to time. Their words are like a melody, with the characters taking turns playing the theme and the subject. The film's music is also a language connection, allowing the thoughts to linger in our ears through several flashbacks and Malick-style field roamings. The film replaces the terrifying process of violence with philosophical reflection. Although the women are illiterate, they have wisdom. The accumulation of too much pain and anger ultimately awakens their self-awareness, and transforms hatred and anger into calm love on the premise of their faith. This leads to a very constructive conclusion. Responding to violence is one thing, and another is that the choice of action depends on what beliefs should be upheld.
Pacifism is good. Any violence is unjustifiable. By staying here, we women will be betraying the central tenet of our faith, which is pacifism. Because by staying, we will knowingly be placing ourselves in a direct collision course with violence.
They also understand that security is important, but the freedom to think is more valuable. The talking in the title can be equivalent to thinking, often mentioned in the dialogue. This not only prevents the film from becoming a simple propaganda tool for Me Too, but also makes it one of the few feminist works that do not leave room for gender opposition.
We are entitled to 3 things. We want our children to be safe. We want to be steadfast in our faith, and we want to think.
One of the most significant adaptations of the original work in the film is to set the voiceover as the narrative of Little Girl Och, addressed to Ona's child who was born only at the end of the film. However, in the original work, the narration is from August's perspective. This adaptation is more conducive to building empathy with the audience. We are naturally drawn into the role of that baby. This also helps us maintain a hope for the future in the overall dark and oppressive tone. Actually, the film presents an objective and enamored portrayal of men. We do not see any criminal in the whole film. The men are either a threat lurking nearby or a terror flickering in the darkness. However, the boys who face the camera directly are more likely to leave a gentle impression. They have innocent and confused faces, with no harm intended. There are only 2 male characters in the film. August, played by Ben Whishaw, takes the minutes of the women's meeting. In the original work, he also serves as the narrator. He is gentle, humble, and sympathetic towards women. The other male character is an enthusiastic census taker, wearing Ray-Ban glasses and with a stubble, driving a small truck. The monkey's Daydream Believer plays on the loudspeaker throughout his journey. This was supposed to be the most realistic thing that intruded into this abstract world, but the feelings it brought us are the opposite. This interlude feels like the film's soul had left its own body. This peculiar feeling corresponds to a positive description of masculinity, the illusionary and fanatical ardor of femininity in the transcendence of masculinity. Before the epilogue of the film, women eventually reach a consensus and decide to leave with all the women and boys under 15 years old, to create a new world based on equality and love. The premise of this decision is that leaving does not mean fleeing, but rather a firm expression of faith. Leaving also does not mean weakness, but rather in representation of inner strength.
But by staying, we'll be inviting harm. We will be in a state of war. We will turn this colony into a battlefield.
We cannot become murderers, and we cannot endure any more violence. Which is why we must leave.
The screen adopts a nearly black and white simple tone, maintaining an abstract feeling throughout. Let us get lost in time and space with these women, unable to distinguish where they are or what era they are living in. All of this is constructed to create a dark metaphor, hinting that this tragedy could happen in any corner of the world. It goes beyond an isolated case about violence and rebellion. It examines ancient patriarchal power structure and uncovers some eternal questions. By sincerely and accurately contemplating the root of violence, the essence of forgiveness, and other universal issues, it benefits us all.